The military service shows a message to its civilians, reminding them to do their part and that the service wants them to join the fight with their newly developed weapons against an enemy force located in the Clan Dathu system. A live reporter on the bug planet is able to show the gruesome reality of the fight against the alien species of bugs. Rico is drawing a picture of his girlfriend Carmen when his teacher begins asking the class about the lesson at their high school. In the hallway, Rico and Carmen express their love before checking their final scores in the quad. Carmen tests high and would like to be a pilot. One of Rico's friends, Carl, blows up Rico's horrible score on the big screen for all to see. In science class, Rico is able to take charge of a bug dissection while Carmen fights the urge to hurl. It shows Rico is able to get his hands dirty, while Carmen gets sick and has to leave the classroom. Rico's psychic abilities are non-existent compared to his gifted friend Carl, who can communicate with other species telepathically. In an intense high school football match, Rico realizes one of his opponents takes a liking to his girlfriend Carmen. Rico and the opposition go head in a battle to win Carmen's favor. Rico seals the deal with the help of his friend Diz, which wins the match and Carmen's heart. At Rico's house, we see him as he is getting ready to celebrate senior night when his parents confront him about a military service application they found. Rico's wealthy father encourages Rico to give up this immature idea of joining the military and go to college instead. Senior night at Rico's high school, Rico and Carmen take a break from dancing and Rico is apprehended by Dizzy, a longtime friend of Rico, adamant about declaring her love for him. Rico declares he is not interested if he has Carmen. When Rico goes to find Carmen, he is surprised to see his rival, Xander, flirting with Carmen just like the football game. Rico swiftly steals Carmen back and they re-cement their commitment to each other by disclosing they both are going to join the military. Rico and his friends swear into the military service. Carmen commits to her pilot sector, Carl to military intelligence, and Rico to basic infantry, each knowing they are going separate ways from one another. They all make a pact to always be friends no matter the distance they are from each other. Back at the house, Rico arrives home to deliver the news that he has joined the mobile infantry of the military service. Rico's father is furious and expresses his disdain for his son's impulsive decision. They urge Rico one last time to reconsider their offer one last time, with no response. The first day of boot camp for mobile infantry, we see Rico front and center. We are introduced to Zim, Rico's new drill sergeant. Zim's aggressive and ruthless behavior becomes apparent why his class has the best reputation for producing high-performance soldiers. Zim challenges any of the recruits to a fair fight for his rank. One recruit accepts and immediately has his arm snapped in two. Dizzy, Rico's high school friend, gets transferred to Zim's unit and challenges Zim to a duel for his rank. He agrees and continues to win the exchange by incapacitating Dizzy. The following day, Rico and his new friend Ace begin to realize basic training is serious business after getting kicked in a pit by Dizzy and stabbed in the hand by Zim, the drill instructor, for having inadequate performance. After a long day of training, Rico creates a video of his training accomplishments to send to his girlfriend Carmen, who has her training of her own. Carmen's gifted piloting skills become apparent early on in her flight school. She comes to find Xander, the same guy from high school, is her new flight superior. Tensions rise and both Carmen and Xander learn to trust one another. Back at infantry training, Rico is also excelling amongst his fellow peers, proving he's got what it takes to increase his rank. He and Dizzy run an old play from back in the high school days to gain the upper hand during a live training drill. After Rico's full display of skill on the training course, Rico is promoted to squad leader by his superiors. Rico and his squad have mail delivered to their barracks. It's a video from Carmen. She tells Rico that she doesn't want to pursue a relationship with him anymore. Carmen has her eyes set on her pilot career and there isn't space for a military grunt like Rico in it. After a night of heartbreak, Rico is expected to lead his squad in another live fire training session. Rico does what he can to lead the squad when he takes off the helmet of a fellow ally due to a malfunction. The recruit is shot and killed on the course due to negligence of the squad leader. Rico is asked to resign from his position and engage in administrative punishment for his failure to lead a squad safely. We watch as Rico endures 10 brutal slashes in front of the entire class to ensure something so horrible never happens again. Back on Carmen's ship, she and Xander exchange banter over coffee when she informs him that she changed the ship's course to save time to their destination. Xander declares his desire for Carmen until they are interrupted by a meteor being hurled at their ship. They narrowly dodge it at the expense of a portion of their ship. The flight team is grateful to Carmen and Xander for such quick thinking. Back at mobile infantry training, Rico is packing up his belongings after enduring his administrative punishment. He is greeted with a live phone call from his parents. They encourage him to come home to them until the broadcast starts to cut out. On his walk down Washout Lane, Rico notices commotion of his fellow peers all running to a location yelling. It was the bugs. The bugs hurled a meteor, the same meteor that Xander and Carmen so narrowly dodged, at Earth to the city of Buenos Aires, the home of Rico and his parents, which is what caused the video broadcast to terminate early. Rico learns his parents are dead. He is furious. He immediately goes to his lead command to tell him he made a mistake and would like another opportunity to prove himself as a leader in the mobile infantry, despite his dead parents and obliterated hometown. Now in a state of war, the US Armed Services declare war on the bugs with intentions of destroying planet Arachnid along with the bugs that destroyed the city of Buenos Aires. All coalitions of the military meet up before they all ship out to planet Arachnid. Rico hears a familiar voice. It's Carmen. Tensions between Rico and Carmen are high considering she broke up with him a few days before. Xander approaches to egg Rico into a fight. Rico takes the bait and they begin to brawl in the middle of Chow Hall. They are broken up by each other's friends and classmates. We look at mobile infantry's final product as the soldiers ship out. Rico and his allies express their eagerness to enter battle with the Arachnid on their shuttle down to the surface of the planet. Large fleet ships begin to cruise down to the planet when they encounter a counter-offensive being fired at them from planet Arachnid. Large fleet ships begin to burst into flames as they are destroyed by the large blue meteors. Touching down on planet Arachnid, Rico and his fellow soldiers begin running in formation to engage in battle with their enemy. They encounter an extremely large beetle. This beetle is the enemy what is destroying their fellow ships in orbit of Arachnid. They take it out only to be surrounded by more bug enemies. One of their friends falls in combat when they see an entire horde of bugs approaching them. Rico and his troops engage the bugs until they get overrun, calling for them to fall back. Rico and his squad trace their steps back, all the while being chased by their bug enemy, tearing fellow allies to pieces. Rico does his best to save an ally when a determined bug incapacitates Rico by impaling his leg and cutting to black. We come to find that Rico, our main protagonist, has narrowly survived the encounter and in a healing tank back on their ship. He is awoken by his friends, Dizzy and Ace. Dizzy kisses the glass, showing Rico that she has never stopped liking him. All recuperated after surgery, Rico is ready for round 2 against the bugs in his new platoon, the Roughnecks. Ace disrespects their new lieutenant and is quickly reminded who the boss is. The lieutenant walks in. It's Razak, Rico and his friend's high school history teacher. He is met with overwhelming respect from his soldiers. A new battle plan is set to wipe out bug planets around their major target, Klendathu. On one of the bug planets, we see a vast horde of bugs ready to engage the humans in an offensive attack. In flies the airborne fleet, carpet bombing the large bug army to smithereens. After wiping out the majority of bugs, the Roughneck platoon gears up to finish off the remaining bug survivors. Their objective? To nuke any remaining hideouts the bugs might be lurking. After killing a straggler, Rico spots a bug hole in the distance. They have been discovered. After quick thinking, Rico and his allies agree to nuke and destroy the bug nest and many enemies along with it. Rico and his allies turn flank to discover they are under attack from the rear. A large beetle, known as a tanker, emerges from underground and begins to lay waste to the Roughneck soldiers with its flame-throwing gland. Rico, with no other choice, decides to mount the tanker to distract it from killing more of his fellow allies. He shoots a hole in the tanker's back, allowing him to place a grenade inside the bug, blowing it up into a million pieces and earning himself a promotion. Rico immediately promotes Dizzy to his old position of squad leader. Back at camp, Razak was pleased with the soldiers' performance and begins showering his Roughneck platoon with alcohol and entertainment for a job well done. The soldiers are ecstatic and immediately begin partaking in social activities. Dizzy excitedly asks Rico for a dance for old time's sake, and they begin dancing while being serenaded by their friend and ally, Ace. They dance until the sun comes up. The following day, Roughneck Platoon is scouting the terrain on their way to an emergency beacon outpost. Out of nowhere, they are attacked by a flying bug, and an ally is snatched up by the creature. In a final-ditch attempt to end the suffering of a doomed ally, Razak takes aim and kills his soldier, giving him an ethical death before the flying creature could tear him to shreds. He declares he'd want the same if it were him. The Roughneck Platoon gains sight of the communication outpost. Upon entering the outpost, Razak and his crew see a smattering array of fallen soldiers and scattered limbs all around them. It becomes apparent that the outpost and the soldiers fell to the bug menace. The sight is gruesome and unsettling. Orders come in to secure the perimeter of the outpost in case of another bug attack. Razak, Rico, and Ace begin looking for survivors within the outpost. They stumble upon an underground tunnel that determines the bugs were able to produce a surprise attack on the outpost. They are interrupted by Dizzy. She finds something. Banging from behind a door, a military general falls out. He is crying in hysteria. The general quickly tells Lieutenant Razak he had no choice but to hide from the bugs while his subordinates were being torn to shreds. Razak is disappointed in the higher-ranking general. The general tells Razak that a brain bug was able to get into the mind of one of his soldiers, and it was the bugs that sent the SOS signal from the outpost. The whole thing was a trap set by the bugs. The lieutenant now realizes the reality of the situation and orders his platoon into defensive formation. The lieutenant, now annoyed with the general's hysterical behavior, slaps the general and begins to take aim with his rifle. Before he can pull the trigger, his subordinate warns the lieutenant that the bugs are attacking. The soldiers reach the top of the outpost walls to gain visual on the attacking force. It's massive. Bugs as far as the eye can see, all headed right towards them. Razak and his soldiers begin engaging in a gunfight to slow down the massive bug army. Rico and Dizzy radio in for emergency evac to their orbital fleet. The Roughnecks, now realizing they are about to be overrun, fall back to the center of the outpost. Soldiers now stand shoulder to shoulder, engaging the bug force in a heroic display of skill and courage. The evac shuttle finally arrives and the Roughnecks need to group their formation. The ground begins to rumble and a pit is formed beneath Razak's feet. It's the bugs. Razak is buried in the earth as his lower half is torn to shreds by the surprise bug attack. Razak, knowing the end is near, orders Rico to put him out of his misery before the bugs can finish the job. Rico hesitates, then respectfully obliges. It's the warrior's code of the Roughnecks. Rico, Dizzy, and their allies all regroup on the shuttle when a tanker bug emerges from the pit in front of them. With quick thinking, Dizzy throws a grenade into the mouth of the tanker, exploding it and saving the platoon from certain death. This causes Dizzy to be out of formation and an easy target for the attacking force of bugs. She is stabbed and impaled from behind. Rico and his allies kill the attacker and rescue Dizzy from the bug's claws and escort her to the shuttle. The Roughnecks narrowly escape, but not without severe casualty. Dizzy is mortally wounded and dies in Rico's arms. Rico, furious from the loss of his ally and superior, now realizes the skilled pilot flying the shuttle is Carmen. Now assuming rank of the mission, orders Carmen and Xander to begin bombardment of the planet. The higher command refuse Rico's order. They have a larger operation they have planned. Back on the command ship, Rico and the Roughnecks bury their friend and fallen ally with a space burial, the noblest of military ceremonies. Rico is interrupted by an old friend, Carl, and he is now a coroner and in charge of the entire military operation. Carl discloses it was him who refused the order to bomb the planet, and that bombing the planet will not win the war against the bugs. Carl explains they are going after the brain bug and promotes Rico to lieutenant. Rico humbly accepts. Carl, Rico, and Carmen all depart in light of their new mission. Back on the bug planet, Rico, the new lieutenant of the Roughnecks, examines his new delivery of fresh soldiers and briefs the troops on the plan to capture the brain bug. About the planet, the military fleet do their best to evade attacking meteors being shot from the bugs on the planet's surface. Carmen's ship is struck and critically damaged. Her, Xander, and the captain frantically try to make their way out of the command center when the captain falls and is sliced in half by a closing compartment door. Her final words are to Carmen and Xander to make it to the evac shuttle and escape no matter what. The two are barely able to make it to the shuttle and escape before bursting into flames like their fleet ship. Carmen radios in an emergency message to the Roughnecks, letting them know the fleet took major casualties. Carmen and Xander crash land into a bug nest and are able to disclose their location just before being attacked and injured by the bugs. The bugs hold Xander and Carmen as prisoners for plans of torture. Rico and the Roughnecks navigate the bug tunnels to try to get to Carmen and Xander before the brain bug does. Being carried on an army of cockroaches, the brain bug finally emerges from deep within the bug nest. The disgusting creature probes Xander's head and sucks his entire brain out. The sight is gruesome. The brain bug then takes aim at Carmen. That's when Carmen uses a hidden military knife to sever the brain's bug's probe off. It winces out in pain when Rico and two other Roughnecks emerge from the shadows, showing that he's holding a nuclear warhead. Rico uses the warhead to buy time for him to grab Carmen and head to the exit. The brain bug retreats down a tunnel while Rico and his allies escape down another, all the while engaging the bug threat following them. The fallen bugs begin stacking upon one another until one of Rico's soldiers is mortally injured. In a heroic act, the injured soldier asks for the nuke to stop the bugs from following Rico and his allies down the escape tunnel. Outside of the bug hole, they realize that their larger force has trapped and captured the fleeing brain bug. It's dragged from the caves into the open for all to see. Carl, now on the planet's surface, approaches the brain bug to read its thoughts. He discovers the intelligent brain bug has developed a fear of humans from their tenacity to win. Soldiers celebrate their newfound victory. Now, with the brain bug in their possession, scientists begin to work on dissecting the brain bug's secrets to gain the upper hand against the alien bug species. Carmen and Rico are seen as leaders of their respected field. Carmen, now captain of the fleet, and Rico, lieutenant of the mobile infantry and Roughnecks. With one final message from the military service reminding civilians that the fight is never over and to make sure everyone does their part. Thank you for watching Cheeseburger Movies, and don't forget to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe for new content. We'll see you in the next one.